Question number 5. Which of the following best describes the interpretation of this finding? Gosh, that wasn't helpful. And then same thing here. Answer choices. Treatment A, statistically say, okay. So it's a stats question. Love it, hate it, probably hate it. However, a lot of stats questions can actually save you a lot of time as long as you know the basics, the basic high yield things about stats. And this question, I wrote it, so I know, is about that. So let's go ahead and just read through the question. An RCT compares a new neuromodulation device to standard physical therapy in patients with chronic low back pain. The outcome is reduction in pain score on a validated 10-point scale after 12 weeks of treatment. Wow, that means nothing to me. The results show a mean difference in pain scores of 0.9 points favoring the device. Treatment A, okay, with a 95% confidence interval from -0.4 to +2.1. Okay, how do you interpret that? All right, so this is an easy one. This is a quick one, so long as you know at least a little bit about stats, which most of us don't. That's why we went to med school. Great. So treatment A, statistically significant, at least superior to treatment B. B, statistically significant, superior, whatever. Okay, the list goes on. The point is we have our mean difference is 0.9, favoring the device. That's important. 95% confidence interval is -0.4 to +2.1. This is critical. You only need these two things. I would also argue that you need this part too. This really, I mean, there's not too much logic to be applied here. This is kind of just a memorization thing. You do need to know what confidence intervals mean. And they mean that we're 95% confident that the actual score, if we were to repeat this test over and over again, we're 95% confident that the actual score falls somewhere within this range. So now let's think about what does mean difference mean? So mean is average, the average difference in pain scores across two groups. Okay, so we see that it goes to negative and there's positive. We have positive 0.9. That means it's favoring the device. So anything that's positive favors the device, favors treatment A. Anything that's negative, what do you suppose that means? Backpack, right. It does not favor the device. It favors treatment B instead, wherever that is. So I didn't read the stem. I don't care. But what does 0 mean? That is the question. Well, if positive means favoring the device and negative means not favoring the device, logically, we can assume that 0 means there is no mean difference between the two treatment groups. And so if you ever get a confidence interval talking about means, specifically means, averages, that crosses 0, negative and a positive on both ends of the confidence interval, it is statistically insignificant because the real score could be 0. It could be 0, which means it could be nothing. So even if the actual score we got was 2.1 and our confidence interval was still this, it would still be insignificant. Literally, the actual score you get does not matter. The confidence interval for these types of questions is what you need to understand and interpret here. Now, remember I said mean is 0. What if you had relative risk? They give you risks that starts at 1, not 0. Your relative risk starts at 1. That means there is no relative risk one way or the other. If it's above 1, it favors whatever the first treatment is. If it's below 1, it favors the other treatment. So relative risk cannot cross 1 in the confidence interval. Means or averages cannot cross 0. And I bring this up because I have seen multiple questions like this where they ask you different ways. They'll show you a 0 or they'll show you a 1. You just need to understand that it can be either one depending on what the variables are that you're using. So we know this is insignificant. Where is our insignificant one? The difference between treatments is not statistically significant. The answer is C.